Happy Friday, everyone. It's your mastermind coach, Bakar Obey, here with the Seer Mastermind Group for the Seer Mastermind Show every other Friday on this channel on YouTube, as well as streaming live on Facebook. You can find us at the Seer Mastermind Group. I am here today with my co-hosts and co-founders of Seer, Mr. Maurice Bay, helpful trucker.
What's going on?
And your financial conductor, my sister extraordinaire, Majida Bay. What's happening?
What's going
happening, everybody?
What's going on, bro?
You guys excited? As fired up as I am to be here tonight?
We here.
Yep. No, I'm excited. I'm excited, man. I overslept again. I gotta find a way to stop doing that on Friday night, man. So, but I'm excited though, 100%. I'm rested now.
All right, that's absolutely. Do you have an alarm? Do you have a time set?
It never falls in place on Friday evenings, bro. And I got off early today. I can't even lie. Like I got off at like 11, 12 o'clock today, man. I stopped early because of the rain. I'm like, I ain't going nowhere else, man. It's just raining too hard out here. Went around and did some things and then came home. And it's like, I don't know, man. When I get the kind of tired where I don't realize that I'm getting tired. You know what I mean? I sit somewhere for a few minutes and it's like, whoa, I'm getting tired. Then it's like a few minutes later, it's like, all right, let me just close my eyes for 30 minutes, man. And then 3 hours later, you're like, oh, snap, I overslept for something, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, the alarm clock, I don't know, man. It just never seems to work for me on these Friday nights, bro. Oh no.
You might have to start scheduling that nap.
I don't know. We need to start doing these masterminds at like 4 a.m. when I'm triggered to wake up automatically. I won't oversleep then. You know what I mean?
Don't do that to me. That would throw my whole lifestyle system off.
100%. But I would never be late no more.
Oh man, I'll be going to bed at 1 o'clock. Like, well, listen, hey, we've got an incredible show for you all tonight, as it is 2 days out from U.S. Independence Day, a couple of weeks after Juneteenth, which celebrates the African American, the Asiatic Independence Day. And you know what? We want to talk tonight about your own independence. And it also coincides with the midway point for the year 2021. So we're going to check in on those New Year resolutions and find out how resolute you really been in getting it done. So, as always, we like to launch and start off with, man, what are some successes? What are some wins that you guys want to celebrate tonight with us since the last time we got together, man? Majida, you go first.
Wins. I don't know.
What's coming? Anything you planning to celebrate?
I gotta work on. Oh yeah. I mean, we finna celebrate my daughter's birthday.
Hey, an independence baby.
Yeah.
She freed herself. That's what's up. That's a celebration for you, right? It's the first time you became a mother, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you celebrate that?
I don't celebrate a lot of stuff. I just do what needs to be done.
You acknowledge it, but you don't get no much time to celebrate it. I get it.
She just does her job. Like that's
yeah. I joked it. Yeah. I gotta work on celebrating stuff. So yeah, I can't think of anything specific to celebrate at the moment or wins specifically.
What about for the first half of the year? How about any big accomplishments, any major shifts, or anything that you feel was worthy of recognition in your first half of the year?
I mean, I'm proud of getting our estate plan done. You know, I talked about that previously. So that was probably the biggest win for the year so far. I guess coming up, I am working on getting my Virginia contractor's license. So that'll be my second half of the year focus and accomplishment, getting that done.
So making a decision on that. All right. All right. I won't mess with you anymore. You know what I'm saying? Give you some time to work on that. What about you, Maurice? What are some things you either celebrate in the last 2 weeks or for the first half of the year, man? Any
Last
milestone achievements?
last I got a few milestone achievements for this year, I would say. Last 2 weeks, I consider it a win that PBS Digital Studios hit me up because they was interested. They're doing a docuseries on the changing work landscape in America. I talked to the lady, and she basically let me know their interest. That's the subject matter they're interested in going into. She asked me about my pop. I told her, she's like, I want to show intergenerational changes in a certain area. So I'm like, well, I got a dad that used to drive. You know what I mean? He's been driving for 30 or 40 years. She asked, she's like, you think if we, because I'm not the one that's selected yet. It's not said and done yet, but she was like, do you think he would want to come on as well? I'm like, yeah, he probably would. But we talked, and it was cool. I told her I would love to be a part of that. It was not going on once they get the special. She said they doing it with 6 people. They've already filmed the 4 other people. She said they had all 6, but 1 dropped out. And that's how I came on their radar. So I'm like I said, but it's not settled yet that I'm going to be the one that 6th one. She said the first 4 people, their episodes are already shot. And she said it would probably be about an hour and a half worth of recording that, they're going to send me what to record. I'm gonna send it to them. They're gonna edit it. It's not gonna end up on TV, but it would be on their YouTube channel and some of their other digital media outlets. PBS Voices is the name of their PBS channel. Like, yeah, she said they got like 250,000 subscribers on there. So, but that was really, really cool, man. Whether they actually choose me or not is it'd be good if they did. I would love to be a part of it, but it was cool just the fact that they hit me up, man. YouTube is the sugar honey iced tea. 100%, man. I would be flattered if YouTube hit me up and said, hey, you seem to be so stoked on YouTube. We would love to maybe work with you to be a spokesman for YouTube or something. I believe in like what they doing at YouTube just that much. Like seriously, like I would love
YouTube University.
100%. And they do have a YouTube University, by the way. But yeah, I consider that pretty significant, man. Just closed out the month of June. With a decent revenue month for YouTube, and that's contrasted with the amount of effort that I've been putting into YouTube over the last few weeks, which has been minimal. But I have been doing a little bit, you know what I mean? And May, the May month as far as income on YouTube was decent. June was better. June went up. But like I said, the thing about YouTube that I love is that like it's not 100% passive, but I mean it is passive. It's the most passive income thing that I have in my life right now, man. Like like the money and the reach that it gives you based on stuff that you did a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Like those videos, those are the videos that people are finding. Those are the assets of mine that people are finding online now. Stuff that I did 2 or 3 years ago is helping people find me. It's generating income. You know what I mean? It's people leaving comments under views that I did 3 and 4 and 5 years ago. It's like, talk about residual effect. Do something today and 3 to 4 years later, the result of that thing is still popping in. So some of the people that's doing marketing online that ain't on YouTube, and be honest with you, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it, and you don't have YouTube in your arsenal. 100%. Like you got to get on it if you're not on it. If you're running some kind of business, it's 100%. Like for the first half, I think I definitely got some milestones, man. 2 of my biggest milestones for when I started this year. One was to be in my own truck by the end of the first quarter, which I did that. But I also had another goal by the end of the second quarter. Or was it the end of the first quarter? And it was dealing with my taxes. I wanted to be on a plan to take care of my tax bill that I owe. I'm not on that plan yet, but it's the reason why it's not. I wouldn't say it's like it's not me BSing or procrastinating or anything why I'm not on that plan. I don't want to get into why that hasn't happened yet, but I've been on it, and that is unfolding. That process is happening. So that's two big, huge, major milestones for me for this year. Increasing my income, buying a truck, and getting something done, moving in the right direction of getting this huge tax bill paid off that I got to get paid off. So one is accomplished already. One is in the process of being accomplished, and it will be accomplished here in the next few months. I'm waiting on something to happen, but yeah, I'm doing my part.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And I'm so sorry. Like I just we got a special guest on my accountability group tonight, all the way from South Africa, which is super dope. And I'm super hype about it. But I'm not able to jump in with him today. But I love those milestones. Maurice. And yeah, you've been doing a lot of great stuff and showing it and sharing it throughout this year. So appreciate that. By the way, for those that are just tuning in, this is the Seer Mastermind Show. Seer is a mastermind group for creative entrepreneurs, supporting, encouraging, holding them accountable, and recognizing their achievements. This is the Mastermind Show, our story, our journey, our way, as you can see in the top, one of those directions.
That way.
That way. All right. I don't know. My camera might be mirrored right now, but and you know what are we here? Why are we here? Let me tell them a little bit about us. And Majida, myself, Maurice came together at the end of 2019 because we all, as entrepreneurs in our own families, recognized we needed that support. We needed that encouragement. We needed a community to walk with you through that journey. And all of us having experiences in direct sales or in network marketing businesses, etc., know the power of having that team, right? And so we came together as a family, as a team, and we're building, we're growing, and showing you our journey and what it looks like, in different positions. Maurice and Majida are both parents. Maurice married, myself single and searching, and no, with no kids. So all of us approaching the journey from different perspectives, and started this podcast a year ago, really just to get some information out to you all. So if you're listening and you're enjoying it, make sure that you're liking it, you're commenting, you're sharing, letting people know, man, there's a community out there for their support. And so I'll share a little bit of my wins, and then we can jump into tonight's conversation.
I was hoping you weren't gonna keep us waiting.
I wasn't gonna keep you waiting to the end of the show. They missed out on the last two shows. Wink, wink. So man, I'll just say first half wins have been really the launch of my business, and next week we've got a launch of my master class, lifestyle mastery master class. And so I'm thrilled and excited to have, as I was telling you all last year, that I needed my own classroom in order to do the kind of work that I felt like I need to do as a coach. And I'm looking over here, and class is in session. You know what I'm saying? Class is in session. So I'm showing up in that space.
Make those visions a reality.
You know what I'm saying? I love it. And on top of that, though, in 3 months was able to identify somebody, actually a referral client of my sister's, of Majida's. And I mean, just immediately was like, oh man, I need that person in my community. And in 3 months going through my system, she's risen and been promoted to one of my accountability coaches for that community. And so she's running my car right now in 3 months. And I was just like, yo, this is the dream. You know what I'm saying? How many more of these can we do? So to me, that's the milestone right there. It's really to create something and position it so that I can remove myself to continue building and growing in different areas, right? So we can still be here and see her tonight and not worry that that's gonna fall apart, at least today. But that's thrilling. That's exciting for me. A lot of things going on this year, but that'd be the major milestone to this point. So the conversation tonight.
Before we get into that,
yes, sir.
I got a couple of current events that I want to just ask y'all's opinion about, right? Two real quick before we get into the subject matter. Totally off topic, but I figure, hey, they're current events, so we can take just a few minutes just to share what we think about it. First thing.
All right, I probably know 2 current events, so I'm hoping I'm hoping one of them actually falls in on your category.
Derek Chauvin just got sentenced to 22 and a half years.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's George Floyd, a year ago.
The police that killed George Floyd. Yeah. So during that court case, that was a high profile racial court case, right? I guess it was a racial court case. I guess it was. And everybody was like, yo, justice is never served in America, this, that, and other. And I was reading or listening to something that said that he got sentenced to 22 and a half years. And, I don't know if y'all saw the picture of him, like the picture that I'm envisioning in my mind. It captured a moment. It looked like it was the moment that that he actually heard the judge say, you're sentenced to 22 and a half years. And he was like staring there in the camera, just looking over there, kind of like, huh? I don't know if that's what the moment captured or was, but that's what it seemed like it captured, like 22 and a half years, man. And, as he was talking, they was talking to his family members. You know what I mean? They was talking to his brothers, his in-laws. And I didn't know that Derek Chauvin, I knew it, but it hadn't been accentuated really during the trial, that Derek Chauvin has Asiatic people in his family, right? Like I believe he's married to an Asiatic woman. And so his in-laws are Asiatic. And so for me, just looking at that kind of, I didn't follow the trial too much, but I know that everybody was like, yo, Derek Chauvin, he killed the Asiatic man. He had his knee on his neck. Like he just didn't care. Like he was just being disrespectful at all. That's kind of how I took Derek Chauvin. But like Derek Chauvin was married to an Asiatic person. So I don't know, as I was hearing that, I was looking at him and that look that he had on his face in that picture, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, it was just interesting. I kind of felt both ways about it. I kind of felt like, okay, he got what he deserved. But on the flip side of the coin, it's like, damn, I didn't know he had that many brothers that close to him. You know what I mean? So, have y'all heard anything about that? About him getting sentenced to about his conviction? And
have you heard about the conviction?
Do you have any thoughts on any of that?
Majida?
I was not aware, but that's just because I don't
follow it that deeply. Neither do I.
Yeah. So it definitely makes you question the narrative that's been told.
Yeah.
So it's so easy, and I think it's so easy for people to accept, the popular narrative and accept the story that's told. And most people won't do the research and study for themselves. Like me digging into his background is really, it doesn't really affect me.
And it's not really relevant to the case.
What you mean?
The fact that, what do you mean? The fact that he got Asiatics in his family?
Yeah, like what's the relevance?
Well, I didn't really see it that it was relevant. It was kind of like what Majida was saying a minute ago. It's like just the narrative that I've heard in regards to it, that didn't come out. Derek Chauvin, from what I heard, and again, I wasn't digging into it too much. This is just surface stuff. Derek Chauvin was presented to me as like he was a racist. Mm-hmm. He put his knee on that Asiatic brother's back out of pure meanness towards the culture. That's kind of how I saw the offense that Derek Chauvin did. Now, the sentence that he got, like if you kill somebody unjustifiably, you know what I mean? You European, Asiatic, all that stuff shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Like justice needs to be justice. But it's just that narrative, all of the stuff that came out about him, like that didn't come out. They found a way to accentuate certain things and put certain things on the back burner, and it was just interesting. It was like the Proud Boys group, that the group, the whatever you want to call the group. I didn't realize that the leader of the Proud Boys was married to an Asiatic woman. I didn't realize that, and it's like, again, the narrative about this group, Proud Boys, the owner is that they're they're a racist group. Like, but the owner, the leader, got an Asiatic wife. You know what I mean? It's like, hold on, something. You know what I mean? Again, that's just not the part of the popular headline that came from that story. And to me, it just really makes you want to look behind and say, what is really going on? Like what is really going on? You know, that to me is just, again, neither one of these things they don't affect my life directly. You know what I'm saying? But it's just interesting. You hear all of this stuff, and then it's like you hear something from left field. Like I said, the brother was that Derek Chauvin I'm talking about now. Didn't know that he was. I hear all these Asiatic people come on and talk about him and how good of a person he was to his family and all that stuff. And I was like, wow, that's just interesting. Yeah, just finger up just now, Bakar.
I was just gonna say, I hope that face I was making becomes a meme. Because I got nothing. I literally have no comment. I have no opinion. I don't like. All I was thinking as you were sharing it was, it's one case. Like, it's not nearly enough to even be a pattern of justice. So like, I'm still waiting, and I mean, God forbid that there's more, right? Like. But it's just one of those things where the thing that's like, you don't get up in arms about the thing that's supposed to happen happening, and regardless of what the rest of like what you don't see, because I'm used to, if you want to talk about it, what I'm used to in the media is when somebody, I'm used to the media smearing somebody to make them look like the bad guy, or smearing a victim to make them look like they deserve the killing. And at the same time, working to humanize the killer, you know, when they reflect a certain demographic. So like that's just a pattern that I had seen over time. So like that narrative doesn't surprise me, but to me it's still not relevant to the event at all. Now, what I didn't pay attention to what the media and how he was painted, but the whole world saw on camera what that moment was. And regardless of what his backstory is, it doesn't change anything about the moment.
Do you think that case, and I don't want to get too deep into this because I got one more thing I want to ask you about, but do you think that case would have been perceived differently by the public? Do you think that case could have been spun to the public the same way that it was hypothetically if the offender, the accused, the officer was Asiatic?
We'd have never heard about it.
and if we had heard about it, do you think it would have been spinned as anything dealing with racial?
No,
I don't know.
I doubt it if it would have been.
I mean,
like, I don't hear too many stories of Asiatic cops killing Asiatics, and then they saying, "Yo, this is a racial case." You're exactly right, Bakar. It's kind of hard to spin that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I'll be saying that like,
in the media.
That was the thing that
it would have still been cops and, you know, African American or Asiatic victims. I think that would have been the narrative. It's still cops killing.
I think the case would have been seen differently in a light like
sure.
That. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think that's what's interesting about the idea that Derek Chauvin got so many Asiatic people that close to him. That's kind of, it's like.
And I think for context, when you say Asiatic, right, we all know what you mean. But I just looked up an image. His wife is of Asian descent.
Okay.
So it's there still are, or still people could still say that there are certain narratives about the different groups of Asiatics, right? Like the perception of men of African descent being a threat is different from Asians, right? Like culturally, we.
I didn't know his wife was Asian. Actually, I didn't know that. You just told you. I didn't know that. I didn't never look it up. I did see that it appeared that his brothers was on the news, and they all look like me and you. Like, dude, right here, what's going on with him? Anyway, watch this one. One more thing, and then we can get into the subject tonight. What's your thoughts on America's Dad being free? Now, y'all might not have much of a connection to America's Dad.
Those were my two stories.
That's the two you know about.
Those are the two. We went in. We batting 100% tonight.
Yeah, that mean I picked the most popular topics. That what that mean?
I literally only heard about that a couple of days ago when my brother came to me like laughing about and watching the video of Cosby. That's what we talking about. America's Dad, my TV. Of Cosby letting out and he walking in and hitting it. Like that's literally my whole exposure. And I was just like, oh, I didn't even know he was in for something. Like,
you didn't know he was in. You knew he was in.
It wasn't in my field of vision. Like, I've been here. Like, what's going on in the world and in the public? I'm not the one. I would have voted for Trump or what's her name, Warren, in the last election, and now one on one. So I just don't trust me with the public because I vote different, yo. Like I just look at
voted
things.
For Trump, you ready to throw you off the show right now?
No. You got to go check out my one of my latest posts. It was just kind of a laugh. I put a question out there. It's like either Warren or Biden, and fight me on it. But that was back during like the primaries or something.
G, what you got any?
I didn't know he had been freed, but
on a technicality,
they go crucify me about that Trump thing. Watch.
He was let out on a technicality.
Yeah.
What
basically,
was the technicality?
You know what? Again, this is I'm not the news guy on this show. Okay, so but this is just stuff that I was I've scratched the surface about. So essentially, what happened is his the woman that one of the women that accused him of rape. He basically she couldn't do a regular case. She could do a civil case, but she couldn't pursue her claim in the manner that she was. Okay. She was allowed to do a civil case. Cosby was basically, they said, okay, you'll have to give a deposition at her civil trial just to essentially appease her. That's basically what it was. A lot of times when people feel victimized, something will be done just to give them some sort of peace of mind. Well, being that they couldn't get a high profile prosecution on Cosby at that time, they just made it so that he had to testify at this woman's deposition to give her this woman's case, civil case, to give her some peace of mind as far as what had happened to her. But they were not supposed to use his deposition, his testimony in that civil case against him. Well, in the future, they came back and they used his testimony against him, and that's what they convicted him on and got him in jail, right? And so that was overturned by a new judge. They said, yo, his rights were violated. Y'all promised him that y'all couldn't use that testimony, and then y'all went back and used that testimony and convicted him on it. And that's what they let him out on. And now, because of like double jeopardy laws, the case is shut and he cannot be charged again, right? So he's out now. But that's the thing about it. That's why I ask about it, because it's not like when I first heard it, I was like, yo, you gotta love Cosby, man. And it would be good if he was actually innocent, actually say, yo, his name is cleared. But it didn't happen like that. It's on a technicality. So, it's like, you could say, okay, he is guilty, but the system had a loophole in it for him and he went through it. So that's why I asked, like, what's your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts?
I do. I have thoughts. So just to your
America's
last point,
Dad, man. I love Cosby, man.
The system, anyway. The system doesn't have a loophole. The prosecution failed, and the appeal process worked.
Okay.
Open and shut.
Okay.
That's what a good lawyer will do. We'll get you out on a technicality.
Okay.
So the lesson is do your job and do it well. That's all I got to say.
Excellence pays.
Do it in excellence.
Yep.
Yeah. Just wanted to pop in with those week's news events.
Well, I think Well, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead with what you think, Manjita.
No, I mean, I think in general, like we don't really talk a lot about the news, and that's intentional because it doesn't really impact our story, our journey, and our way. Like it's like it's like background noise, and it's not part of the um, what's that term? It's not part of the not anthem soundtrack of
To our
our
lives.
right. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that's nice, good for him. I think people invest, and this is nothing against you, Maurice, right? Because I appreciate you sharing. Um, but to that point, and we can tie it into the conversation for tonight. Like, I think people spend too much time worried about other people's lives that they don't invest enough time in their own. Right? Like, I might hear stuff, but like, I don't go looking for information that's not going to serve me. I might hear it in passing, right? I might
Well, be
stop on my
careful with how you say that. Don't be so hard about that, okay?
what?
Because the bottom line is all information can help you. That's facts. All information can help you. You can listen to another person's story and you can learn something relevant in your own life.
I agree. I
So don't
wasn't.
be so harsh with that. Like, I don't pay attention to other people's lives because it ain't got nothing to do with my life. You learn a
No,
lot
that's
from
not
paying
what I
attention to other people's lives, okay?
I said some people invest too much energy and not focusing enough energy on their own, right? Like I said, some things I hear, and I might, I read a story the other day about Taylor Townsend, and while her story may
Who was
not,
that?
right, she was a tennis, she was a tennis player, she's an Asiatic tennis player, but she was really thick, right? She's a thick girl, and
Fat.
anyway, she was the number one junior tennis player, and I just was scrolling and I saw her story on somebody's page and I reading the whole thing. It was a lot. Like it was like 5 parts to the story. Like she had them outlined, part 1, part 2, right? Like it was a lot. But she was telling her story, and her story was impactful. Reading her story, because understanding the journey and some of the things that she was challenged with as a tennis player and the adversity she had to fight through. Like those are the stories that I believe are impactful to me, right? I can't speak for nobody else. And so her story, right? But she's also an athlete who was competing at a high level in her sport, right? And so her journey to get there is inspiring, right? What she had to overcome. She was from the south side of Chicago. Her and her sister played tennis together. Her family moved to Atlanta, but she was not accepted by the institution that she was. Her image was not embraced, if you will, in that sport, and yet she fought through that anyway to become the number one junior player, right? And she told the story about how other parents would say something to the judges or whomever about her mere presence, right? And for her, for a long time, having to ignore that and play through that anyway, and right, like she didn't give up. She didn't allow that noise from other people's biases, and other people's what's that word? It's a P word.
Prejudices.
Prejudices, right? Stop her, right? She didn't give up because of that, and that was impactful, right? But like the news, I just recently I was listening to a podcast and he suggested there was this article or this book, and it talks about um, how the news is intentionally set up. I'll find it. I'm gonna do it for you right now. But how the news
Y'all done hijacked my whole conversation tonight.
Sorry, bro.
I'm losing it. I'm gonna just click off. Y'all go ahead and have y'all conversation.
No.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
No, bro, go
My
ahead.
car is out. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead with
it. Hate Inc. It's the book is called Hate Inc. This is one. And wait a minute. Tantor Audio, a division of recorded books, presents Why today's media makes us despise one another. And I was listening to the Model Health Show with Sean Stevenson, and he mentioned that book. So it's perspective. It's understanding the lens through which information is being promoted, or you know what I mean? Like Taylor Townsend's story wasn't in main media. Maybe it was years ago, right? And she kind of just faded out. But to be able to come across an article and she was able to share her story and her journey and the adversities that she faced and how she was able to overcome that, like that inspired me. But Cosby getting out of jail
inspired me.
All right.
That's what you did. Yeah. That's what I want you to not miss there, right? Like, don't miss that.
What was inspiring about it? That's what.
Now we're having a conversation
because like you can be down and on the way up in life, or you can be up, or you can and on the way down. Mm-hmm. Life is not about where you are; it's about trajectory. That always makes me feel good because I see myself as being not where I want to be right now, but I realize that it is a trajectory. So. That's always, and I was kind of joking about the inspirational thing, but you know what I mean? Like, I guess what I'm saying, like, none of us are wrapped up into news. I'm not a news watcher. I'm not a guy that comes home in the evening and cuts on the news and turn it on to Channel 6. You know what I mean? But on the same note, watch this. We are on a talk show, y'all. We are on a talk show, okay? So, anyway, it's
the new media, though.
There you go. I don't want to get off on that no more. It's all good. Forget Cosby.
That was not. No.
Let's go.
I said. Anyway, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go. How you gonna say we messing up the show and then now you don't want to jump back in?
I told you, y'all took it out of me. We 35 minutes in. We touched on no independence, no resolutions.
We never do that. We always say we're going to talk about one thing and then start talking about something else. It's a talk show. That's what we do.
No, we do not. Matter of fact,
what we do.
Let's talk about that. What are we going to do differently? Maybe not us, but I want to pose some questions to you all and to our audience. As the first half of the year has come to a close, and many people may make resolutions in the beginning of the year. I think this is a great point to do a checkup or check in on whether you've completed those resolutions or you're still making progress toward them. And I know typically for us, we may not make resolutions in the traditional sense, right? Like we don't go into the year, but we may be laying out plans for the year, plans for the quarter, right? And so I know
I make resolutions.
You do?
Yeah.
Would you like to share it?
We already talked about it. I did. I made a resolution at the beginning of this year to get my own truck, and I did it.
All right, so you're on track. High five, Maurice.
No, I'm not on track. Not on track.
I mean, you got it.
Because I also made a resolution this year to make my brand a 6-figure brand.
And?
I ain't on track for that one.
Okay.
Hopefully ain't nobody listening to this on track for all of their goals. If you are, your goals are too small.
100%. Facts.
We'll drop that nugget as well. Hopefully they're not all on track. But you did resolve to do something and then completed it, right?
100%.
It wasn't something that you wished, but it's something that you did map out and execute.
100%.
That's awesome. Majida, were there any resolutions that you set for this year? Hopefully we can salvage this conversation, man. I am whipped today. Today was not the day. Today was not the day to go into no news.
I just want to just throw this out there real quick. Maybe I shouldn't because I'm about to shoot our own show in our own foot.
Go ahead, just blow it up tonight.
Let's not act like we got an audience right now, okay? Let's not act like we knocking it out the park right now, okay? Like seriously, okay? Let's not act like yo, we got 1,000 people listening every week, and you bringing up news, and now ain't nobody listening. Won't nobody listening last week when we wasn't talking about news. Let's just keep it real, okay? Okay.
But to your point, Maurice, though, 3 years from now, this will be available on YouTube for somebody to watch, and they might, so hey.
I'm sorry, y'all.
I'm just saying. I'm just making the point.
We're in this sewing business.
Yeah, okay. You lost me for a second, but I know what you done. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're just planting seeds, yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
I was just making the point that, just keep this in mind. If you're trying to do your own thing and you watching us right now, like, you know how many people out here are scared to run their credit because they realize that inquiries ding their credit, but your credit score already in the dumps? Think about that. That's a true statement. Yo, man, I don't want to run my credit, man, because a whole bunch of credit inquiries ding my credit. What's your credit score right now? A 330? You get what I'm saying? Yo, man, we can't talk about news events because we're going to lose our audience. What audience? That's the lesson. That's the lesson to you if you're online trying to build something right now. Like, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that because I don't want to lose my audience. Bro, you don't have an audience. Man. I ain't talking to you right now, Bakar. I'm talking to whoever may be listening to this that's scared to make a move or scared to make a change because you're scared you're going to lose an audience or attention that you don't have. You understand? So, yeah, talk about anything, do anything, throw as much stuff against the wall until you find something that stick. Make it happen. Let's do it. Let's go. Let go.
Oh man, I don't even know what to do with that. I don't. Like my whole train of thought is derailed tonight. So if you can salvage this conversation,
hey, let me bring it back around. Watch this. Did I sound resolved just now in what I said? Did I sound resolute?
That's forced. You're forcing it. You know what? I can't stand y'all tonight. I can't stand y'all tonight. But you know what? I will say I'm happy that we're laughing. I'm happy that we're laughing because the journey don't always look like a straight line. Okay? Matter of fact, nobody. Some people, Sha'Carri Richardson, right? She ran a straight line to the 100.
About to bring her name up.
Right.
I got 3 news stories. Look at it. Listen to me. Right? But what's the plot twist in that one, right? A failed drug test?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah.
So it's like one day you up. What you just saying? Which way is she trending, right?
Yeah. It's less about where you are and more about where you're heading. 100%.
By the way, check out our previous trending topics podcast. It should be somewhere in the archives. Oh my gosh. Why did I bring her up? All right.
Straight line. You said so much running in straight line.
Right. So we just, hit the family circus. And for those that used to have the old Sunday papers, you know what I'm talking about. If you were born before or after 2000, you probably don't know. But the comic strip and the little, honeybee trail of the kid walking through the. Nope, just me. I only read.
No, I know you're talking about
comics. Oh, okay, I ain't getting no feedback on that one.
The comics was like the news to me.
It was right.
I saw it, but I never really dug into the comics.
Oh man, I would dig the comics out of the news.
I've heard you say that before.
Yeah, you've heard me say that.
I've heard you say that before.
Younger,
well,
like much younger. But anyway, all right.
Resolution,
middle of the year, independence. Your independence.
Here's a question. Let me help you bring it back on track.
Go ahead.
How do you resolve? How do you make it just not a wish and actually a resolution, something that actually happens?
That actually is a question that I intended to ask tonight. So
there it is. I'm in your head.
I gave you the question on Sunday. What you mean?
Oh, okay. That's where I got it from. Okay, my bus.
No, it's all good. How do you do a resolution? Go ahead, Majida.
Well, I was listening to a speech by Jim Rohn yesterday, and he talked about 5 sources of inspiration. And the first one was deciding, right? So when you ask, how do you
How do
resolve?
you make it a resolution instead of just a wish?
Yeah, you decide. And he said you decide to amend the errors, disciplines, and judgments of the past in spite of what may happen, and you decide no matter what, right? Like no matter what. And then the next source of inspiration is to plan what you've decided. So you decide, I'm gonna get my own truck, and you plan the steps that you need to take in order to get it. The third step is you begin the plan, getting started and following through. Right. So taking that next step. Fourth is progressing, staying at it. Right. Like staying the course. And last but not least, finally achieving what you decided to do. So that's from the School of Jim Rohn, 5 sources of inspiration, or 5 ways to develop resolve. Decide, plan, begin, progress, and achieve.
Because stuck.
I'm writing it down.
I can send it to you.
No, that's cool.
Studies have shown that if you write things down, you stick them in your brain, they stick with you longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
See, decide, plan,
Begin.
Hey, I was working on it
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
in my system. You know what? You broke my.
What's the other two?
It is. She's gonna say it before I do, but it's progress and achieve it. Boom. So that's how you could do it. That's good. That's good. You use a lot of quotes.
Technical breakdown of it.
And yeah, and there's a number of different ways to say that, but I think that covers it. For those on the faith side, might be write the vision, make it plain, act in faith as if it's already achieved, and give gratitude in advance, and then just see it through to the end. Like, don't stop until it's done. So just
I would say the Nike way. Like, just do it. Yeah, just do it, right? Just do it.
Yeah, that's
a little too simple and too vague and too cheesy sounding. But as I'm listening to Margita go through the technical steps of it, I mean, I'm equating those steps to the actual process of how it played out in my mind of me getting my own truck. And I mean, I did all of those things that Margita just technically broke down via Jim Rohn information, but I just did it. It's just like, you know what, man, I don't want to be here no more. And I just did it. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't really technically thinking about it that much. I just, this is what I want to do. And I just did it. Right. It would be simple if it was just, if the laws were that simple when it came to the stuff that most people do make resolutions around. And when I'm talking about resolution now, I'm talking about in the traditional sense, like we make it, but then a couple of months after we make it, you know what I mean? It's kind of like forgotten about when it comes to weight loss or changing a bad habit or something like that, right? Like it was I mean, I wish it felt that simple of just saying, I just want to do it. I just don't want to be here no more. I'm gonna do it, right? But I think it is that simple, even when you're doing something that big. I really do. Like
people underestimate the power of a decision.
Just deciding,
like making the decision that this is, like, for me, going into coaching was decided, right? And whatever fumbles and challenges and tribulations that came along with it, it was going to be a part of the journey and learning. What's another way? Like deciding, if you look at the definition, if you think of like suicide or homicide, right? It's like the death of someone or by something. So decide, I want to say the root of it.
Put to death.
To put to death all other options. And many people aren't committed in that way when they come up with the idea, because they don't follow through after the decision, right? Or they never they have a plan B, or they wish it and never really decided.
I'm looking up the definition of the word side. I've never looked up the definition of that word.
It's a suffix, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, why are you doing that? So, like, in the decision is so much power. in recognizing that you're putting to death all other options.
And it's something that I heard from John Maxwell or read in one of his books. He said, you don't make a right or wrong decision. You make a decision and you make it right.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes
So,
sense. That makes sense, man. I know a lot of times in life, I'm sure there's other people as well. We spend a lot of time trying to do things to ensure that we make the right decision.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But like your life, it don't make sense that the path to a successful life lies in making the right decisions. Like when you say it that way, like I'm not knowledgeable enough about which way to go to always make the right decisions. I don't necessarily have that ability. But when you say, well, it's less about making the right decisions and more about just making a
Making a
decision
decision,
and
yeah.
then making it right, that's something that's in my power. Brandon Turner from Bigger Pockets said a quote just the other day, is more, and I put it on Facebook, is more important that you decide than what you decide. So I think a lot of us, right, we spend a lot of times not deciding because we don't know what to decide. And it's like, just decide something. Brandon Turner was saying, yo, when I looked at my options, I eventually came to the resolution that I could be successful at all of these, but I can't be successful at none of them if I don't decide on one and just go with it, right?
Yeah,
so yeah,
absolutely.
make that decision and then make it right. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and stay in the course. Yeah, that's. I hate this phrase. It's easier said than done. Because I don't feel like somebody who's done enough would lean on that. It's an excuse. Well, it's easier said than done. Sure, yes, we can say all kinds of things out of our mouths. And matter of fact, if you don't speak it, odds are you won't put any work or effort to believe in it and getting it done. So sure, it's easier said than done. But like, when has getting it done been easy? Right? It takes a child, however many months to get up and start walking. It wasn't easy, but they do it relentlessly every day, right? So it's a matter of your character and what you've built in your resolve. And like, I'm not here to beat anybody up on that, but these are things that we must learn about ourselves and share with others. When we say, man, how do you build up resolve, right? And there's a chapter in our Quran that I love. I want to say it's a chapter on inconstancy. And he talks about the power of resolution being a gift. It talks about the power of resolution being a gift that's given us in order to like guide and direct us in, exercise it and thou art wise, be wise and thou art happy. Like, so resolution is the pathway to happiness, because once you're able to make a decision, like, you've already done the wisest thing that you could do, is resolve that you're going to stay a course until you learn everything you can to either pivot or complete it. Right. But just being able to resolve, whether it's in principle, I'm not going to drink or smoke, like, that's a resolution. Why do you do that? Right. Well, you understand value wise, right? You're in alignment with your values. Hey, I value this, this, and that. And I want to live a life according to this, this, or that. And so I'm resolved to live this life because of these important reasons. And these are the resources I need to support me in that space. Yes, there's work to be done, and it's easier to talk about it. But is it more fulfilling to just say it? Because for some people it is. Oh man, I'm going to do such and such, and then they feel relief just by speaking it.
I think that's one of those things that we see and they project. But no, when you say it, the more times you say it, and the less of it that you see, the more of a gap it puts in between where you believe you are and where you believe you want to be. So you can talk all you want to about, if you're the type of individual that quote unquote feels better because you say it. Within you know what I'm talking about. It only puts a bigger gap in between where you feel like you are and where you want to be. And you may not share the feeling of that void with anybody else, but those of us that have been there know that void is in you. And it's just and the more you talk and the less you go, the more you're going to open up. You're going to open up that gap with that. But let me ask you a question on this one. Here's a word that And I mentioned this word to my wife the other week, and her immediate response to this word was, well, we're not supposed to be that. But to me, this word that I'm about to throw out to y'all ties into the subject of being resolved. What's your thoughts on the word obsession? You want me to give you a little bit of backdrop?
No, I can take that one.
Okay.
For sure. You can add some context to it if you like.
Yeah. So, like, I would say that we get accomplished the things that we're obsessed with. Others would say we shouldn't be obsessed with anything. We shouldn't be dealing with obsession. What's y'all's thoughts on that?
I don't know that anything that I've accomplished was an obsession. Like, I don't know if I had that degree of, I don't know what
You
to
wouldn't
call it.
say, and the reason we're talking about this because it ties in with resolve.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't say you were obsessed with completing your trust?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I wouldn't say she would. Are you obsessed with creating financial independence for you and your family?
100%. I was obsessed with getting my truck too. 100%.
I was talking to Margita, but
I'm sorry.
And I want to gain more clarity on that.
So I feel that obsession and resolve go hand in hand. In my opinion, what the things that when you say, you know what Bakar was just talking about, I'm going to do this, and you carry that with you every day until you do it, like, I don't see how you can not label that as obsession. And in my opinion, like, when the mind is consumed with something, it is going to accomplish it. When the mind is obsessed with something, it is going to accomplish it. But my opinion about obsession is many people, because they are afraid of or intimidated about a word like obsession, many people will never allow themselves to be immersed that deep in anything to be obsessed about it. But then I ask myself the question, how can I get anything done unless I have that attitude that Bakar was talking about? I'm going to do this. And to me, that I'm going to do this attitude, if I wake up the day and I'm saying that all day, and I'm acting and I'm thinking about that all day, and then the next day I do the same thing, next day I do the same thing, and I carry that with me until I do it, I don't see how anybody cannot label that as obsession. And I guess the point that I'm trying to make is, from my understanding of my definition of obsession, you need it in your life to help you accomplish things. But like I said, obsession and immersion, kind of talking about something that goes hand in hand as well. Like, you're not obsessed with anything that you're not immersed in. And going back to what Bakar was talking about, like I'm resolved, so I'm immersed in the idea of doing this thing. To me, all of these go hand in hand. But like, if you're scared to get that into something, you'll never get to the point that you can be obsessed with it. But how you gonna get it accomplished unless you got that attitude of, I'm gonna do this, and you got it on the dial play to your heart all day today, and then tomorrow, and then the next day, and next week, and next month. Like, you've been talking about a trust for a minute. I don't see how you could not say, yo, I've been obsessed with this idea. Well, Bakar, you've been obsessed with starting the business that you just started for a minute now. I don't see how you could label that other than anything else. I was obsessed with this idea. And the proof that I was obsessed with it is because I couldn't let it go until it happened. Thoughts?
I would agree wholeheartedly that obsession is absolutely a part of that resolution. And the verse I was reading to said, "He that armed thee with a soul, armed thee with resolution. Employ it, and thou art wise. Be wise, and thou art happy." And I'm obsessed with another verse in our Quran chapter on unity, where it says, "The science of happiness is study of his life for the wise man." Right. So to be wise is to walk the path of toward happiness. Right. And to be wise requires you to employ that resolution. And in that resolution, I do think it takes a healthy obsession. Like, I'm obsessed with the idea of being happy, free, fulfilled. I'm obsessed with those ideas. I'm obsessed with seeing and living those out, right, and playing those out, and creating a beautiful world and environment of free, healed, changed people all around me. And it's something that I can't let go. It's something that I'm not letting go of, right? For 5 years, this cadence of free, heal, change, free, heal, change, free, heal, change has been on my mind and on my heart. Like it is my mantra. What does that mean? Like I expect to be free. I'm obsessed with my freedom. So every day, every day, my intention is to wake up and walk in freedom. And the way that I've come to that is recognizing who's in charge and living according to those laws, right? Living according to the laws that are provided for us by the great creator of the universe. So when I wake up, I empty myself of my desires in order to fill myself up of, the instructions that are going to give me the freest, most fulfilling, and happiest life that I can imagine, right? And I'm totally obsessed with that. So like, I don't care if somebody don't understand that. Well, I mean, where you live and what kind of car you drive, like, how does that factor into my freedom? Like, I'm able to get around, right? I got a roof over my head. I got food to eat, right? I'm free to come and go as I please. I'm not in places or positions where I feel unhappy, or I guess I'm in places where I'm happier, or that brings me happiness more than unhappiness. I don't know, man. Like, and I'm sold out on those. Absolutely obsessed and resolved to keep walking in that direction, regardless of whatever noise is going on in the world. Yeah, I think it definitely takes some obsession with the idea or with an outcome to strengthen the resolve. I'm not gonna say it's required for resolve, but to strengthen it, right? To really let it take hold and to stay so committed to the idea. And I think sometimes it's even backfired on me, or
100%.
Where I'm just like, man, I'm like, even in the financial industry, I realized there was something in it that I needed, but it wasn't necessarily the vehicle to get me there, right? I had to make a pivot, still do some work in finance, but more on the foundations and providing foundational resources as opposed to, to providing just specific life products. And I know that there's value in that, but it didn't give me the space to work on people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or work with people holistically. So like, yeah, I know finances is part of your journey, but it's not, it's only like working one bicep. And when I wasn't working when I wasn't doing a total body workout, if you will, when it came to my whole life, like I couldn't just be obsessed with just working one bicep. Like that was deflating for me. So I was more obsessed with the idea of being able to have a total and holistic approach, but I knew that I needed to work that bicep too. So when I got to work in on the bicep, but I saw that it was causing the rest of my body to atrophy and to weaken. It's like, you know what? Forget that, and let's go back and just do the total body thing. And whatever I got to do to stay in that total body workout, whatever I got to do to stay in that holistic lifestyle fulfillment space, right? And I didn't know what that was entirely. I just knew that I needed to focus on the whole person, right? The whole person, their everyday, their environment, their spiritual, their intellectual, their emotional. I need to focus on the whole person. And once I made a commitment to that, man, I began to see things become more and more and more fruitful. But it took just knowing that, man, 5 years ago, I was like, man, I'm going to free, heal, change lives. I'm going to free, heal, change lives. Right. And I went to education. I went to engineering. I went into entrepreneurship. I, got fired out of engineering and worked odd jobs and hustled and did all kinds of little stuff. But I never gave up on freeing, healing, changing lives. And today I'm in a position to continue to grow in that space, to be able to free, heal, change lives. So yeah, I think resolve does, grow and strengthen with some obsession. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
So what do you think? G? We talking about resolve. Is there a connection between obsession? Is obsession a good or a bad thing?
I don't know. It's kind of the same thing what we said earlier about a decision. It's not right or wrong. You make it right, you know? So you can have an unhealthy obsession. You can have a healthy obsession, right? Like you make it like the movie Acrimony. There's some unhealthy obsessions there, you know.
I'm not
That,
familiar with that. What's that about?
That's a good movie, bro. That's a good movie. That's a juicy movie right there.
Taraji.
That's a good movie. I'm on his side. Me and Yasmin talk about it every time we finish watching that movie. She says how Taraji felt, and I'm like, yeah, but she was supposed to stick with him, man. Well, he should have took the $800,000 check. Nah, that man wasn't supposed to sell out his idea for no 800 when he know it's worth a whole bunch more than that. That's a good movie, man. Yeah, I love that movie. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Tyler Perry's Acrimony.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is good.
So
I had to look up the definition. Obsess, preoccupy or fill the mind of someone continually, intrusively, and to a troubling extent.
They always gotta give something a negative connotation. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Of a person, be preoccupied with or constantly worrying about something. So maybe that doesn't. But when I was like, I don't know that I've
an idea or thought that continually preoccupies or intrudes on a person's mind. Like, I can't get this thing out of my mind. You didn't feel that way towards creating your trust? It seemed like you did.
Like it didn't, but it wasn't like intrusive. So
if you can't get it off your mind, it's intrusive. That's not a bad thing, though.
No. Ahead, but I'm saying, like, when I consider the actions that I'm intentional. Like, I wouldn't call it an obsession. I'm just intentional. This is what I want to get done. This is what I'm going to do. But it didn't, like, consume me to the point where, like, No, it didn't consume me to the point where I was like, yeah, no.
How did you get it done if it didn't constantly consume you? How did you get, I guess this is why I'm asking this question, because it seems that this ties into the subject of resolve. Like, I was resolved. If I'm resolved to do it, if I say I'm going to lose weight at the beginning of the year, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. And I plant that seed in my subconscious mind. And I can't get it out of my head. It sounds like an obsession to me. I can't get it out of my head. I can't get the idea of getting this 100 pounds off of me out of my head. I can't get the idea of going into 2022 without having proper financial plan. I can't get the idea out of my head. That sounds like an obsession to me. And I know you can have an unhealthy obsession, but we're talking about getting things accomplished, like being resolved. Like, how do you stay resolved in the face of all adversity without being obsessed with what you're trying to get done? I guess that's kind of the point that I'm trying to.
Yeah. Like, how did you not quit? Like, did it ever get challenging at any point? I mean, you flew all the way out to California to finish it. Like, to me, that's
wow. I hadn't even thought of that. Sounds like an obsession.
No.
Well, that was just part of the process.
No. Signing the trust. No. Signing the trust in California was that was a byproduct of going to California. I just mentioned it to the estate planning attorney prior to going, and she's like, "Oh, we can go ahead and finish everything up." So it was accountability. Accountability is what allowed me to get it done. And I may have shared before.
But why did you want it to get it done?
Let me finish. Accountability is the glue that ties commitment to results. So, Mickey Wynn.
Okay.
And so, what I am obsessed with is maintaining the trust that people have in me. I am absolutely obsessed with that.
That sounds like a trust. I heard something like that on Clubhouse this week. Sorry. I know that's like a dad joke, but I heard something like that on Clubhouse. Like, like a trust is like a physical representation of the trust you have in your
So
family.
it's a reflection of, but like in every relationship that I have, I am obsessed with maintaining the trust and confidence that my employer, my client, my children, my parent, right, my grandmother have in me. And so I'll take a L to maintain that trust. I am absolutely obsessed with that, right? You say free healing change, I'm obsessed with maintaining the trust that people have in me. Cause I don't take that lightly that like people have confidence in me to come through for them, right? It's back to the accountability. I'm tied to other people. Like my accomplishments often are tied to other people. And if I attach other people to getting things done, it's more likely to get done because of the relationship, not because of the thing. The thing is not what I'm obsessed with. The relationship I am.
So
That's a
what
good
you're
point.
saying is you are obsessed with trust. You just didn't count the physical trust as the manifestation of your obsession.
No, I'm obsessed with the intangible trust. So
All
I
the way to the
manifested.
point that you
So I
manifested.
manifested the physical trust.
That's all we're saying.
No, that's not the truth.
That
Here's
is what we're saying. We got
here's
to the
what
root of it.
and here's what I'm kind of hearing you say. Those things that you care about, or to use the word in the definition that you read at the beginning a minute ago, those things that you care about are most concerned with accomplishing. Those are the things that you want to be held accountable for. So it's like, all right, if it is a thing that is in line with what I'm up with what I'm obsessed with, I want to be held accountable for that because I want to get that thing done.
If it impacts someone that I care about, I'm obsessed with getting it done. Yes, absolutely.
I think the main point that I wanted to bring out in this, or get y'all's feelings on, and for the person watching this, like when me and my wife had this conversation, her first response to the word obsession was negative. Now, I definitely think that she would agree with what we're saying. Like the essence of what obsession is, you can call it what you want, you can define it how you want to. The essence of what obsession is and how it can help you in accomplishing the things that you have so-called quote unquote resolved to accomplish. Like you need that in your life. But when I first asked my wife about that word obsession, that was kind of her response. Like, we're not supposed to be obsessed with things. And I know where, if that's what she said, which it might not be because she listened to me right now, but if that is what she said, which I think it is, I know where she got that thinking from. What just came in your room? God damn.
Somebody ring the doorbell. Hold on.
She said. But
it's my mother.
But yeah, that obsession piece. I just want the viewer that's watching this right now. Mute yourself out, G, if you would for a sec.
Okay.
Like you need that, in my opinion. And like some of us hear that word obsession and we instantly get turned off by it. It's like I'm not supposed to be upset. Because like I guess the word obsession seems to go against a word like balance. And I want balance. You were talking about that a minute ago, like working out the whole body as opposed to just one part, right? So we hear obsession and we think imbalance. You get what I'm saying? And the imbalance part is the part that we're afraid of. And while I would say that we do need balance in life, I would also say, or ask the question, like, how you gonna get it done unless you're obsessed, unless you're resolved in getting it done? So if you're the individual that you feel a negative way towards that word obsession, and you don't want to get obsessed with anything, you're looking for your success without trying to go through that obsession piece, yet you have a problem with getting things done, like maybe you need to change your perspective as far as immersion and obsession. You can't fail when you immerse yourself in something. You can't fail when you immerse yourself in something. The baby can't fail learning how to walk because he's obsessed with I'm going to walk. It's not I'm going to walk until, or I'm gonna try to walk until. There is no other choice. Like you said, CID is no other options. I'm gonna walk. Period in the story. That
Everybody
is
else walking. Why I can't
exactly,
walk?
exactly. And so, it's like they're immersed in an environment where everyone else around them is doing this thing. So they're gonna do it automatically. And I'm just saying that if you're one of those that are afraid of obsession, that is afraid of imbalance, that is afraid of resolve, that is afraid of immersion. Like if all you want to do to learn Spanish is stick the Spanish word refrigerator on the refrigerator and the Spanish word TV on the TV, like you're really not going to learn Spanish that way. Go work with some Spanish people, immerse yourself in that, and you'll pick up Spanish. If you think you're going to learn Spanish just by putting El refrigerator on your refrigerator and now you all of a sudden know how to go to the restaurant and order in Spanish, that thing don't get accomplished that way. That thing gets accomplished by somebody that is obsessed with learning that thing and immersed in a process that's going to help them learn that thing. So again, I just kind of wanted to speak on that and bring that out a little bit. If you're watching this and you're one that you do feel a little bit negative towards the word obsession, like my wife obsessed with making noise in the background sneezing right now, right? But if that is you, like maybe you might want to change your perspective towards obsession. Obsession ain't a bad thing. Obsession is that fire that's going to help you stay with it when you don't feel like staying with it.
And I think it's important to identify what will motivate you to take action. So like for me, there's not like a thing, but there is the relationship, right? So I know what triggers me to take action. It's like somebody's dependent on me. Well, use a simple example, right? My daughter's birthday is this weekend. She expects a party. She expects to be celebrated. And as her parent, her trust in me to deliver on that, I'll figure, right? We gonna I'm gonna order a cake, can we do, right? And they ain't got a well laid out plan, but by Sunday afternoon, it's gonna be a party somehow, some way, and she gonna have a good time, and she's gonna feel celebrated, right? It's the relationship, right? I wouldn't do it for no other reason. Like if it was up to me to have a party, I'm not obsessed with the party. I'm obsessed with making her day special for her. So the party is the byproduct of that. And so I think sometimes we focus on the object, but we don't have the juice, right? We don't have the fuel to get us to the goal. And so you got to figure out what that fuel is. And I know we were doing the play on New Year's resolutions leading you to your independence, right? When the United States resolved to get their independence from Britain, there was no turning back. They made a decision, they planned, they began to take action, they fought, right? They did it. And the same way that you're muted, bro.
I was just piggybacking. I was saying they were obsessed and they got it done.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue. I don't want to cut you off.
But to that same point, we're celebrating, or this weekend people are going to be celebrating the country's independence, right? It's a mirror to your own independence. What are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to do to free yourself, free your family, achieve the things you want to achieve? Like you said, if you're not obsessed with it, if you're not resolved to manifest that, to realize that, it'll never get done.
That's my belief.
It requires, right? But you got to know, right? Why did they fight for their independence? We always talk about it starts with why. Why did they want their independence from, right? And that why was strong enough for them to figure it out and get it done. And the same thing applies for us. Our why for free healing and changing the world. Our why for getting,
I'm giving up on the world. We just gonna start with me.
Okay, lives.
As a byproduct, other lives get freed, healed, and changed. Then I done my duty. We just gonna focus on me today, though. But go ahead.
It's something that I've heard Ed Milet say all the time is that most of your goals or dreams are either other people or I can't think of the other one. But it's usually other people. It's usually tied to other people. It's never the stuff, because you get the stuff and then you're still not fulfilled. You're still not, you know. And so last week, my daughter was out at the park or playground or something, doing what she normally do, flipping all over the place. And some children happened to see her who were part of a tumbling team, and they went and got the parent, and the parent went and talked to my sister, because my sister had taken the children out, and got the woman's number, reached out to her, and she called me back today, and she potentially could have opportunity next year to go to the Junior Olympics in tumbling. Now, she's in gymnastics right now. We haven't made a decision on that. She's made a decision because she heard the whole conversation. She's like, I can go. I'm like, girl, you already doing 3 hours a week, 3 hours a day, 3 times a week in gymnastics in the morning. But like they practice in the evening. So she was just like, yeah, like she's shaking her head. Yeah, I want to do it. Right. Like, yeah, all right, you going to do another 2.5 hours, 5 days a week. Oh, right. But like she's obsessed.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Yep. Yo, like, how do you think you become the people that you and me and these viewers admire? You can't name me anybody, not just you. Yeah, right. Not you, but anybody that may be listening to this. You can't name me anybody. I will challenge you to name someone that you know, that you look up to, that wasn't obsessed. Can't name me anybody. Any actor you name, any famous person you name, Jim Rohn, Eric Thomas, Simone Biles,
Barack
Denzel
Obama.
Washington. I don't care who you name. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Jesus. I don't care who you named. You know them because of their obsession. Like, it's just like, yo, like, and again, just reminding myself of my wife's response. Again, I think she would agree with what we're saying here, but she just heard the word and heard it a whole different way. And I get it. Like, we ain't supposed to be obsessed. I've heard stuff like that my whole life. You know what I mean? But again, you can't point me anybody that got anything accomplished. Santa Claus, he don't even exist. That dude is obsessed.
People are obsessed with him.
No, but I was joking about the Santa Claus. I was joking about that one. But anybody else that you can name, anybody else you can think of, Eric Thomas, anybody that you know, they were. I would make the argument that they are where they are. You know them because they were obsessed with something, and then they got known for that obsession, or they got known because of that obsession. I'll say. And
I'm gonna bring back up the Santa Claus, right? So you might have killed some children's. I
don't think we have no children viewers, but okay.
I don't think it's set up that way either.
The Karen might have a few friends on here.
But to that point, people are so upset, right? So like, if people don't feel like they are obsessed, people are so obsessed with the ideal of Christmas that they'll support something that isn't true.
And that they know ain't true.
Right.
100%.
So,
100%.
So it's in you. It's just where you, right? You're obsessed with giving your children a good Christmas, and allowing them.
That's what telling them the truth about Christmas.
But it's just to that point. Like, we all have Christmas.
For some,
we all have it within us. It's just where our energy, right? But to that point, right? People who are obsessed with the idea of Christmas and this, this time of year, and giving their children what they want for Christmas, right? They're upset, right? So the fuel, the seed, the same energy that they apply to that, they can apply to achieving whatever goals they want for their family. But we use the energy for one thing, but we won't use it for another, right? So we don't recognize it's the same energy.
100%.
The same energy you give to finding the money at Christmas time to buy toys you can't afford, or to buy stuff, right, to impress people that you don't, right? Whatever, you find the energy to do it because you have a strong enough, compelling reason why.
Mm-hmm.
you want your children to have a good Christmas, right? You want to, feel like you're a certain stature or whatever the case may be. And so just take that same energy and have resolve about your finances, have resolve about your future, have resolve about your fitness. It's just reallocating that energy to
I would
something
agree.
that's going to be beneficial to you. It comes back to like the immediate result, right, the immediate gratification. We've been taught so often that you can get that quick fix, you can get that, you don't have to do the continuous work, right? So in getting your truck, it wasn't no, I wake up today, I set up the LLC, I get the EIN, and then I got my truck. You had to do some other steps in between, right? There was a process to get to that end result. And sometimes we want to shortcut the process, or we don't want to take all of the steps. But through that, you build your resolve, right? Because if you've done it before, you can do it again.
100%.
So
100%. And that's interesting too, because I'm gonna turn this back over to you, man. We talking about it's coming back to you. It's coming back to you, bro.
I've been done an hour ago. Go ahead.
Yeah, we talking about dang, it just slipped my mind what I wanted to say. We talking about resolve. It slipped my mind what I wanted to say. I had something that I wanted to say.
I'm just here to sabotage the show at this point.
I apologize. No. I apologize. Dang, I wanted to say something good.
This is the Seer Mastermind Group on our story, telling our stories, our journey, our way with Maurice, Majida, and Bakar Obey. Tonight's conversation was supposed to be about our mid-year checkup. We did get to touch on your resolutions, mid-year resolutions. Key message there is make a decision and stick with it, right? That to develop some obsession, to see it all the way through to the end. It's only the middle of the year. You still can complete that thing if you haven't done it already.
But you're gonna need some obsession.
But you're gonna need some obsession. And then when it comes to, Independence Day, and how resolved are you to create that independence for yourself, for your family, if that's something you want to be free forever. It was not that conversation, but we got something done and on tape tonight. The seed is planted. This might go to the archives, but maybe next year this time we'll be able to take a better shot at this.
I think we touched on the whole topic.
Yeah. I think you're making it worse than it was right now, bro. I really do. Like, I think you're making it worse than it was.
That's my plan. If you're gonna flame it all the way out.
I don't think the show was that bad. I really don't.
You lost me for the first 47 minutes.
I don't really see how that is, but okay.
It's okay.
Okay. We got to talk about that. You know what? We're going to have to get obsessed with setting aside some time to talk about how to improve this.
All right. I like it. Well, Majida just gave us the blueprint. Make a decision. We all decided here. Plan it, begin it, progress through it, and achieve it.
And that's our biggest issue with this podcast. We haven't decided to take this thing to another level. That's what I would say. We've been looking for ways to do it. We've been talking about doing it, but we all preoccupied with our own thing. So we haven't decided we're taking the Seer podcast to another level. It ain't going to happen until we do. But until it do, we're going to still be here thinking around.
I'm all right with that for now. Because you know what? It's not something I can decide on my own with you. Something we'll decide together. All right, everybody, put your hands in. On 3. We're going to end the show. Go ahead, put your hand in. And we're going to say decide on 3. Ready?
No.
3. Good night, y'all. This has been the Seer Podcast. Our story, our journey, our way with Maurice, Majida, and Bakar Obey, the helpful trucker, your financial conductor, and your lifestyle engineer. We'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Night.